Hi, good morning everyone. Welcome to Nottingham Contemporary. My name is Isabel Whiteleg and I'm Curator of Public Programmes here. I'm just going to give a brief introduction. I need to begin with some thanks. First of all, the public programme here at Nottingham Contemporary is funded via a distinct collaboration with the University of Nottingham and Nottingham Trent University. So I want to thank them for letting us realise events of this ambitious and indeed international scale. And this event in particular was devised with the support of Dick Geary, who is Emeritus Professor of Modern History at the University of Nottingham and the Institute for the Study of Slavery at the University of Nottingham. So many thanks to Dick and also to all of our other participating speakers, Colin Diane, Nick Nesbitt, Michael Largy, Martin Monroe, Barbara Browning, Millery Polnier and Matthew J. Smith. Each of them, I have to say, responded to initial invitations to this event with really extraordinary enthusiasm and a lot of generosity, and I'm very grateful for their hard work in preparing for this event and also for putting the time into travelling to Nottingham. And very special thanks to those who've agreed to lend their expertise to the task of chairing each session. Charles Forsdick, Professor of French at the University of Liverpool, Philip Kaisery, Assistant Professor of Law at the University of Warwick, and Alex Farquharson and Leah Gordon, the curators of the exhibition upstairs, who will participate in the conversation that follows our opening keynote by Professor Colin Diane. Many thanks too to my colleague Emma Moore, who worked alongside me to organise this conference, and to the exhibitions team at Nottingham Contemporary, who have worked very hard to ensure that, drumroll, the catalogue for the last night. And all of you, those watching and those participating, are invited to celebrate the launch of this catalogue at the close of the proceedings at 5:30. And you can also buy it as part of the celebration. It's being stocked in the shop upstairs as we speak. We also have, just on a housekeeping note, we have an exhibition tour booked into the programme, and we need to keep the numbers fairly limited. So if you definitely want to participate in the tour, if you could find Emma or another of the people working on the event today at lunchtime and sign up, then you can join the tour, which is at 4:30. I think that's all the thanks. But thanks to all of you for being here as well and spending a couple of days listening to this conference. And anyone watching online, hello and thank you. We have a hashtag, so if anyone wants to tweet, you can tweet. Okay, moving on. This conference was clearly devised in the context of our current exhibition, and it departs from the inaugural moment of Haiti's history as an independent nation, the revolution of 1791 to 1804. The event of the revolution acts as a pivot point for multiple positions that are occupied by Haiti within the history and imaginary of the Western Hemisphere. It was the only slave revolution to accomplish the founding of a new state, and Haiti became the first independent nation within Latin America and the Caribbean. Its circumstances and repercussions, therefore, are vital for understanding the geopolitical and constitutional shifts of modernity. But at the same time, this revolution, which was intended to be one that would eliminate racism and achieve truly universal human rights, was neither fully realized nor recognized within the West for its more radical implications. It has thus produced a history that is also shaped by silence and suppression, a relegation to the margins that's been driven and maintained by colonial and neo-colonial power to this day, and has been marked by the production of the phobias and cliches that continue to inform popular perceptions of Haiti. At the same time, the afterlives of 1804 include modes of historical understanding that complicate disciplinary boundaries and underscore the uncertain divisions between fact, fiction, and myth. Its history has and continues to be conveyed through different forms and practices. The story of the revolution has long been absorbed into the cosmology of Haitian voodoo, and successive generations of Caribbean writers, including Césaire, Carpentier, Depestre, Glisson, C.L.R. James, and Walcott have devoted poetry, theatre, novels, and critical writing to Haiti's history and cosmology. And the revolution has also been reimagined within currents of global black and anti-colonialist consciousness, from independence struggles in Latin America to negritude and black power. Two key points that emerge and will be debated and emphasised through the 2 days of this conference, therefore, are one, the extent to which the legacy and afterlives of the revolution may still remain active as a provocative source for critical thought and political change. And two, how by productively and performatively inhabiting uncertain divisions between fact, fiction, and myth, the subject of Haiti has presented a distinct challenge to established modes of writing, conceptualizing history itself. Uniting both of these points, I'm delighted to introduce our opening keynote lecture by Colin Dayan, the Robert Penn Warren Professor in the Humanities at Vanderbilt University. Professor Dayan has written extensively on prison law and torture, Caribbean culture and literary history, Haitian poetics, and the history of slavery. Her two most recent books are The Story of Cruel and Unusual, which traces precedents for the torture of detainees on the War on Terror, and The Law is a White Dog, How Legal Rituals Make and Unmake Persons. As a contributor to publications such as the London Review of Books and Boston Review, she writes on contemporary legal practices and the logic of punishment in Supermaxes, Abu Ghraib, and Guantanamo. In 2012, she was elected a Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Of particular relevance to the research and thinking behind the exhibition upstairs is her 1995 publication, Haiti, History and the Gods, through which Dayan investigated how Haiti is created and recreated in fiction and fact, text and ritual, discourse and practice. Uncovering a silent, submerged past, she argued provocatively for the consideration of both voodoo rituals and narrative fiction as repositories of history. This groundbreaking study reorientated the study of Haitian history through what Dayan names literary fieldwork. In the process, she has recast boundaries between politics and poetics, the secular and the sacred, and between the colonizer and the colonized, those who deem themselves masters and those who worked as slaves. So on this note, I'm delighted to hand over the microphone to Professor Colin Dayan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and I'm delighted to be here. I can't say how delighted. First of all, to be invited to contribute to this exhibit was a great boon, but I had no idea how much of a boon until I walked through the galleries yesterday, and Gallery 1 in particular, after all the years of working with Haitian art, is, I have to say, to Alex and Leah and Emma and Isabel and everyone who's involved in this exhibit, is one of the most stunning and particular and demanding collections of Haitian art and what the meaning of voodoo is that I've ever seen, and that takes me back to the 70s. So it's a long time. Today I'm going to give a talk that's still very much in progress. It's called The Gods in the Trunk, or Writing in a Belittered World. And I want to begin with a question that some of you know has long preoccupied me. What is the particular terrain for human cruelty, and who gets to command its shifts in species and race? It's impossible here to produce the brutality, all the that have sanctioned violence and demand our response and responsibility. The recent turn in my work attempts to locate in granular and theoretical registers the often invisible nexus of animality and human marginalization. So I want to direct my thoughts to a project that very provisionally has recourse to a metaphysics that is also and always political. There is no such thing as an apolitical natural history, and I lean toward an interpretation of nature and history and politics that sticks us in the world of the sacred. Yet if this world is mystical, it is shot through with particulars. My projection of an alternative reality has everything to do with my experience of voodoo practice, with what I have always recognized as its concreteness, or to put it another way, the sensation of mind pressing down on the body. What most haunts me is how the unlikely or the extraordinary is part and parcel of the commonplace, how rituals thought bizarre become ordinary. So today I want to ask us how we might refigure our understanding of the supernatural to include everyday practices of casual cruelty and commonplace harm. I want to lay out a landscape not just for what defies reason, but for what skirts transcendence. So I'm going to turn, as I have done for many years now, to the Haitian writer Marie Vieux Chauvet. Born in Haiti in 1916, exiled to New York in the early 70s, Chauvet died at the age of 57 in Queens. Madness, La Folie, the final novella of her trilogy, Love, Anger, and Madness, was published in France by Gallimard in 1968, only to be blocked or bought up. The stories of what occurred to make the novel so unavailable for nearly a generation are contentious. Most agree that in the Haiti of President for Life, Papa Doc Duvalier, her family would be threatened were it made available. For years, only a few rare copies of the trilogy were in circulation, and it came out in a non-authorized edition in 2003.